A very good morning to you watching. This is Smart Men's Business. My name is Master Kathima and I'm with well, of course, today is a Thursday, the 25th of January, 2024. And of course, we're just this is the last day actually, till for some people, tomorrow is going to be a public holiday. And of course, you have to remember that tomorrow is the Liberation Day. Every 26th of the month of January is celebrating the Liberation Day, which someone may say NRM regime. They'll be celebrating 38 years. Yeah, well, of course, conversations are raging about that, debating the economics of Uganda for the last 38 years. Since for some people, that is the regime they know of. Most of us are really conversant with it, having born in that era. Well, of course, we're going to be looking at trade and digital revolution. And of course, when we talk about trade, you can't rule out the fact that Uganda actually imports more than it exports. Yeah, so definitely there is work to be done. You know, the president has been, actually employing Ugandans, begging them to actually add value to to our products instead of sending out raw materials, which are in turn made perfect, and we import them at a higher price. So that is what we're going to be talking about. Well, of course, Uganda's GDP now is at 49 billion. That was as of 2022-2023, and of course, looking at since 1995. Till 2015, you can imagine Uganda's economy has grown by 6%, which is not quite an improvement, given the fact that gives us the space of 20 years. So we're also going to be looking from 2015 till date, till date. Of course, talking about trade, we look at the top exports that we have in Uganda. Of course, looking at the traditional ones, dating from the 90s, we had coffee as one of the cash crops that we, exported. Yeah, and of course, it gave us some revenues right there. And of course, we have coffee, we have gold, and very many other top exports in Uganda. Well, of course, agriculture is one of the main sectors that most Ugandans are reliant on. And of course, it employs over 68% of workforce, and of course, with a GDP of 24%. Yeah, so agriculture contributes 24% on Uganda's GDP. Well, of course, looking at the debt, that means if we actually import talent, if we import more than we export, we're always in deficit. So you can imagine. So Uganda's debt right about now stands at 47.3%. Do you know we at 97 trillion shillings in debt? Trillions. We are past the mark.
And we're supposed to be the rich ones here.
Well,
coffee, cotton, all these minerals we have. We also have cheap labor. We have a lot of land where that means everything we have, you can actually set up the factories whereby you're the one that's supposed to be importing employees. Like you would be bringing in people to be working for you.
Yeah, well, of course, that is also set in place. But of course, we were talking about, I think, yesterday with Andrew, we discussed the fact that, yes, the factories are there, the manufacturing industry is there, and of course, employment opportunities are there, but how much do you walk away with at the end of the day? Is 100,000, 200,000 that you're given on a daily enough?
Of course, it's not.
Yes,
with the standard of living,
that is in Uganda, it's really high, extraordinarily high in Uganda. So definitely, we have a long way to go with that. Well, of course, looking at as of 2022, the top three imports to Uganda, where China at $81.5 billion. Yeah, so we actually import many goods from China. Have you realized most of the commodities that we have, from plates to sandals, China?
And some foods, of course.
Oh yeah.
Yes. They started bringing in mangoes from China. I'm like, we're supposed to be giving China mangoes.
You can imagine China is actually looking forward to improving these foods, GMOs. You can imagine. So anytime from now, we're going to be eating GMOs from China. If we have fertile soil that can grow organic food.
Fresh food.
Yeah, fresh fruit.
Yeah.
And of course, we also imported 11 billion from the UAE, that is United Arab Emirates, and of course India with 847 million US dollars. That is how much we imported from those countries. Now, I want you to understand, looking at the I want you to look at the difference in how much you import and how much you export. Look, we're talking about billions here.
Yes.
Yeah. So exports, at least we export to our neighboring countries in Africa, supporting the African Continental Free Trade Area,
Yeah.
in integration and all the trading within one market. We exported to Sudan 606 million US dollars. Of course, Kenya with 594 million dollars. Then Democratic Republic of Congo, 430.6 million, and of course the US. When we were still in AGOA, before they banned us, we actually imported 881.6 million US dollars. Yeah, so at least we were able to, because now we were in AGOA, so we had access to free market in the US. But of course, even with the ban, at least we have other alternatives. We have India, we have China. I mean, we're not badly off. I don't think that is going to affect us in one way or the other.
It will.
It will.
In so many ways.
Please tell me. Expound more on it will.
Because as Uganda, if we have all these minerals and everything we have, if we are giving other countries, at the end of the day, that means we are taking from ourselves, because you can't give what you don't have. Right now we have, but the more we give, the less we are going to have. And that means here in our market, we are giving out more, and us in our market, we have less to sell in our own market, which means everything we are selling here that we have that is little, that means they have to sell it more expensive to us, like they are selling it to the people they are selling it to.
We have to produce in big quantities if we are to be a serious nation.
But most people are living in the villages. They don't want to
Of course,
produce.
that is where the land, that, as I say, a huge percentage, 50% of Ugandans are reliant on agriculture. So imagine now that the minister actually of agriculture came up and said it is important actually, if we talk about coffee, we actually, I was telling yesterday, I'm like, coffee is one of the products I feel East Africa can collaborate, because Kenya has, Tanzania has, Burundi has, I mean, at least every East African member state has some coffee. So if we produce in large quantities, you remember in the 1980s and all that, people actually produced more coffee than ever before.
Yes, because that's what they use. Yes, that's what we had.
Kids to school because
using coffee.
Yes,
you had to learn more about coffee and growing coffee. Yes.
Yes, and of course, remember the money that was spent on this campaign of coffee testing and all, like where the minister. Musenero was being probed, and she was being asked. The president actually called her, and he wanted accountability on that money, billions of money, and I don't know whoever participated.
We've never known where that money went to.
We do not know. That is why we have a lot of debt happening in the country.
Yeah.
But of course, away from that, also looking at digital evolution, how we've progressed digitally from the cell phones. From a pesa phone. And of course, I think the internet penetration came in a little bit early in the 2000s for Uganda, maybe also in Africa. And of course, recently, our government said that they want 90% of Ugandans' households to be connected to the internet, which is good.
Yes.
But then there has to be digital literacy. Understand?
Yes.
Yeah. People have to be in the know. What do we use the internet for?
Yes, even the farmers themselves need to know how to use the internet. They need to know how to use these smartphones, because if they are to sell to other countries, with time, the people that are buying from them at the local market to take to the international market, with time, these farmers are going to actually learn to sell directly to the international people. So with digital, they can go international, and they can actually do more large scale, since they are already talking to the people they are selling to directly.
Actually, recently, Rwanda actually had this initiative of e-titles. So everything, if you want to buy land, you buy it electronically. There's no need of going, you just buy it online. And that's it. I don't know how they're going to do it anyway, because it's going to bring fraud.
Because they are going to steal from people, just like you said, fraud.
That is a lot. No better. But anyway, it's a good initiative. And of course, there is this digital roadmap. It's an Agenda 2040. And of course, where every Ugandan is expected to be connected to the internet, because most countries are hoping for a cashless economy with no one to walk around with money. Yes, we've heard of the fraud and all that. But of course, at the end of the day, we shall have to tighten our cyber security. That means we've been telling people about technology, the new evolution that is coming about. So if you're studying, you have to study in line with digital courses, because that's the era we're going in. Well, of course, looking at a 90% access service is going to be online, and of course, they want 90% of SMEs and private institutions to be connected onto the internet. More medium enterprises, transactions and all, like advertising, e-commerce, that is what they're pushing for. So they're also advocating for digital skills, digital literacy. So definitely that is the evolution that we're heading into, looking at the internet.
Well, that is a lot of light for the 38 years of Uganda growing. And being under NRM, and we have all these developments, this is quite good for the country. And Uganda is one of the biggest growing economic countries. Like, it's growing very fast. But when they say that, I usually don't see it.
To me, I don't feel like we're ready there. We're not yet ready to be in the middle income countries. We're still in the
low. Still down.
Given the fact that we're still in debt, corruption is the talk of the town and all that. So economically, we're not yet there. We still have like 20 more years to get there. But of course, that doesn't rule out the fact that there has been a lot of developments in infrastructure. If you look at the Uganda in the 1980s, and now at least there has been improvement in Kampala. Took an instance in Kampala.
Yes, but if you look at what Amin had left, most of it is still there around Kampala.
But of course, what do you mean, the infrastructure?
Yes.
The infrastructure has to be demolished, and we have to put up new infrastructure.
So that when this regime is done, you're like, oh, this regime left this. But most of the things we see right now, we're like, oh, it was Amin's regime that actually left these things.
Well, of course, looking at a digital evolution, you realize that now anyone can access a smartphone, or maybe a mobile phone, just ranging from 25,000. There's more quality phones. Also, they also have the option of internet. People access Facebook. On those small button phones. So definitely, I believe with digital, we're not yet there, but at least there has to be literacy. People have to be educated on what to use the phones for. For those that are in agriculture, there are these applications that have come up for weather prediction, pests. You could search about a pest and look out for a pesticide for it. So definitely there has to be a literacy for them. And of course, long time ago, did you realize that phones symbolize status?
Yes, they did.
A phone.
Yes,
you were the
did.
rich one.
Our parents, when they would find you with their phone, they would be like, do you know how much this costs? It was a big deal, but now you can even let a child play games on it. But
no, they own phones,
actually. So they do.
Definitely, that is it. But of course, Uganda, we have to improve more on our exports. Let's add value to our products. Let's produce more than we've been producing. At the end of the day, with the agenda that we have 2030, at least we shall have made more profits from exports. Tanzania did, Kenya, did the same, but of course for it focused on the African market. It has gotten more profits from exports in Africa. Than other compared to the years before. So David, that is one thing I feel like we should get into. Well, of course, it's 15 minutes past 7 a.m. And of course, right about now, we're always getting into what is happening into the press. Well, with me, I have the Daily Monitor, and of course, Charlotte going to be taking us through the new vision. Here, Molly goes from hospital to zero, and of course, nearly 3 months in hospital since the reported murder of businessman Henry Katanga. This is one of the daughters, I guess, of Katanga. At his home in Buya, Kampala, and the principal suspect, Miss Molly Katanga, appeared in court yesterday and was charged before being remanded to zero. And of course, MPs shouldn't be named ministers. Petitioners tell court. Okay. So if you're an MP and you're a minister, what should they call you? MP of Parliament? Because they're members of Parliament that minister.
I thought you're supposed to have one title to go.
I think that is why they're telling them MP shouldn't be.
Uganda.
Oh my God. And Lango leaders pay tribute to Cecilia Gual. The legend fell last week, and of course, they're still paying respect to her. And of course, Utorians awarded 99-year-old school proprietor, and of course, remittances from maids abroad drop, says officials. Well, that is it. When you get yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor, maybe you could take us through what is happening in the New Vision.
And of course, here in the New Vision, we have the 2026 polls Buganda for Museveni campaign launched. And of course, we see the firearms police officers given new touch rules. Serving officers requiring firearms for legitimate reasons must obtain them from the units they serve or in specific circumstances.
There was the police officers robbed a businessman.
They did?
They did.
But you know, they misuse these firearms. If you find them in a public place, they're like, do you know I can shoot you? I have a gun. And all of a sudden they feel like...
How is that even... Well, of course, Uganda engages Tanzania as Kenya frustrates eunuch fuel importation plan. Well, still ongoing conflicts in the oil production, or the oil that we've started, we want to excavate, still issues with Kenya and Uganda. And of course, Ugandan the government has commenced engaging with its Tanzanian counterpart to allow state-owned Uganda national company Eunuch channel its petrol imports through Dar es Salaam port. Do you know actually, Dar es Salaam is the longer route? Yeah, the fact that now Kenya does not want the pipeline to be crossing to their country, so we have to use the longer route. You can imagine.
Why is Kenya being like this? But they also benefit from it.
They also benefit from it. You remember, we had a contract with Kenya. It used to, supply oil, and of course, it was supplying us at a higher cost. So we gave opportunity to another company. So you can imagine the kind of conflict, and of course we're also into court due to that. And of course, vocational teachers reject government reforms. Well, of course, teachers from these vocation institutions are opposing the government's decision to remove specific subjects from curriculum. They wanted actually math and English to be scrapped off.
Math should go. I'm okay with math going.
I mean, some people say English should go.
No,
because
math.
English,
I'm okay with math.
Want to study English.
If I was still back in school, I'd be like, yeah, math.
No,
but of course, parents should look out.
Math is
to do the PLE results will be out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So parents out there who like to give bouquets and phones as success cards, of course. Let us wait.
That's spoiling. Too much spoiling. Yeah, and of course, properties worth billions lost in maize mill fire. Well, of course, maize milling factory owners, workers, and traders in Nankuwade, Bira in Wakiso sub-county, Wakiso district, are counting losses after a fire gutted their business and, of course, destroying properties worth billions. Quite a tragedy. Well, right about now, we're into the traffic updates. And of course, as I see, Andrew is right out there to give us a full report on where he is. I believe he's at the access road. Yeah, that is it. Yeah. Well, good morning, Andrew. And what is the situation right there?
Thank you, Marcy and Charlotte, and definitely coming live here at the Ginger Road traffic lights, observing the traffic situation. And according to the overall observation, ever since I've been around making a study, well, some routes are a little bit friendly and some routes are a little bit kind of congested on a Thursday morning like this. But of course, to kick start off, I'll start on Kampala Road, joining Ginger Road. As you can see, just the traffic lights holding the vehicles in an interval of about 5 minutes. As they are set free, the traffic officers are definitely available on scene, but unfortunately, they don't seem to be active. Probably they are watching any mistake that is going to be probably carried out, and that's when they will execute their mandate according to what they ought to do. But if you're coming in from any of the areas, you're probably, I'm imagining you're coming in from the suburbs and you're approaching the city center and you plan to head towards places like Nakawa, you will definitely can avoid the Ginger Road and Kampala Road, the Ginger Road traffic lights where they link up together. Well, you won't be so delayed. Actually, you will be in time because all the way from Kampala Road, only a portion here is where the vehicles are a little bit congested rather, and all that way. Or else, actually, you could decide to use the Nile Avenue route and you branch down to the Garden City and you still continue to your route. If you're heading towards Ntinda, you're heading to Nakawa and you're coming from the city center, you can use the Garden City route because in most cases, if you want to avoid these traffic lights, they can hold vehicles for some time, 5 to 7 minutes. Sometimes you can go up to 7 minutes that way. But if you decide to use the Nile Avenue, a slope towards Kingdom Kampala as you're heading towards Garden City, it's quite a friendly perspective for you, unless for those that are coming in, probably if you're heading towards Chibuli, you'll have to be delayed. As you can see, the vehicles that are held here by the traffic lights before they're set to go to other given destinations. So that is the situation as we are observing it that way. 5 minutes interval as you're held before you're set free to go to any other destination. Now, smoothly, if we can take a look away from there, you can clearly see for the people that are coming in from areas like Wandega, this is what it is for you. You will be able not to be delayed so much actually, because I can see you can connect from the Mulago roundabout, you come towards the fairway traffic lights, you come towards the Nile Avenue, you're linking up to literally Yusuf Lule Road and you're heading to other destinations, and that is something that I believe is quite okay with you, but that is for the exceptional people that are heading towards Nakawa. You're coming from the city center and you're heading to Nakawa, that's when the Nile Avenue route will be friendly for you, except for those that are coming from the city center and you're heading towards Chibuli, you're heading towards Nsambia, Kabalagala, those areas, you will have to wait a little bit. Now, let's take a look at this other side of the road. Of course, we are going to be switching straight to the Port Bell Road, as you can see it, of course, which is heavily inflated with vehicles that are coming in from Port Bell Road and Ginger Road at the same time. So you can see it's a huge, they gather around there in huge volumes. So it explains why you can see the congestion. And roughly you could last to about 7 to 10 minutes if you're there. I'm assuming you're coming in from Bugolobi, you're coming in from Luzera, you're coming in from Chitintale, and you're heading and you're coming to the city center to execute your business. You'll be delayed a little bit that way in that traffic congestion. So you could think of a better alternative. For example, if you're coming in from Ntinda or Nakawa, okay, for Ntinda's case, you can choose to pass via Kamocha route, you link up to Wandega and you're heading to the city center. And now for those of you that are staying in Port Bell, I'm assuming Luzira, you're staying in Luzira, you're staying in Chitintale, well, you can pass still via the industrial area. You know, you can opt for the Namwongo route, and it could drop you to the access road, which we can clearly see. If we take towards the access road, it's one of the routes that were actually worked on for the non-alignment movement conference, and I can feel the impact of it. So for the people that are coming in from Bugolobi, you're coming in from Luzira, you branch to the Port Bell Road, you can actually choose to pass via to the industrial area. You branch through the Namwongo, and you can get out of here of the access road, which is having impact already when it comes to congestion. It would be something that is viable for you as a business person and as somebody that is going to pursue a career in any other way. The roundabout, I remember some time back, it had a number of potholes, but it's not the case of late. It's free. It's free. Maybe let's wait to judge in a few weeks from now when holiday makers resume school. It will give us a clear picture, but at least right now we already see a little bit of impact when it comes to congestion. We've observed the Port Bell Road, where Port Bell Road links up with Ginger Road. It's heavily congested. The access road, which used to be a heavily congested area, is no more congested as we speak right now. Of course, you'll be just held for a few minutes by the traffic lights before you're set to go to your given destination. And well, that brings us to the end of our traffic report this particular morning. And the situation is quite okay on certain routes, except the most heavily inflated, congested place being the Ginger Road linking up to Kampala Road, most especially the area where Port Bell Road and Ginger Road unite together. And that is it for today's report. And now this particular time, I'm going to take you back to plot 42. That is Nile Avenue with Mercy Katsime and Charlotte to keep driving your business. Stick around.
Of course, Andrew, thank you for that beautiful report. Of course, we're along road, of course, Ginger Road, of course, those heading to Kampala. We have a bit of congestion, those that are coming in from Nakawa and Tyndall, that's even those that are coming in from Ginger. You can't rule that out. Well, of course, it's a few minutes, 27 minutes past 7 a.m. Well, now we're going to go for a short breather. Of course, coming up, we're going to be looking at East Africa. Of course, in East Africa, we're going to be looking at Kenya's exports, talking about exports that have soared amidst their weakening shilling, and of course that and more when we come right back. Please stick around.